I would like to congratulate you, because now you know something that many people don't know. Arabic is not just one thing, it is different dialects. Every country is different. And that's why you found my channel about Egyptian Arabic. How do I start learning Egyptian Arabic? Let's find out. Now that you've chosen your dialect, the first thing you should learn is meeting and greeting people. You should learn right away how to communicate with people. So, once you learn those things, you can extract a couple of topics from that. Let me show you. For example, you learned how to say ازيك, which means how are you? You might be wondering, it's one word, but it means how are you? So, here we can extract something from that, which is that ending, ek, and the word ازاي. Now you have a topic in grammar, okay, which is the endings, the object pronoun endings, and the possessive endings. They are both the same thing with a minor difference. Let me tell you another example, just from meeting and greeting somebody. You said, ازيك, how are you? You want to say, what is your name? اسمك إيه? What did we learn from this? What can we extract? The word ism and the ek at the end, and إيه, that means what. So here we have question words that we're learning, and we have a word which is ism, and then we have the ending again. After you learn all of those greetings, اسمك إيه? عندك كم سنة? How old are you? أنت منين? Where do you come from? We notice that we learned also pronouns. أنت. And of course, when you learn a question, you have to learn the answer for that question, right? So let's make a list. First thing, meeting and greeting people. Second thing, pronouns. Learn the pronouns. أنا, أنت, إنتي, إنتو, and all of that stuff. Memorize it. You have to know it by heart. Okay? And then, learn the possessive endings. Why do I call them endings? Here's why. Because in Arabic, when you want to say my, it's not a word by itself. It is not a standalone word. It has to be a part of something. So the word ism means name. And to say my, we say e at the end. So we say ismi, and it becomes one word. This e or my cannot be written by itself. That's why it's an ending. So once you learn those endings, those possessive endings, I want you to know something very important. Those endings are the key to all of grammar in Arabic or Egyptian Arabic. They are in so many other topics, not just possessives. Okay? So after learning meeting and greeting people, the pronouns, and the possessives, you should start learning how to conjugate verbs in the present, in the past, and in the future. There's a pattern, and that pattern is consistent, I would say, with most verbs. Of course, there are some exceptions and some irregulars, but you should learn those patterns. For example, you should learn that in the present, the verb starts with be, and you should also look at the roots of the verbs to see like how the root is going to be changed depending on the pronoun that you learned. Yes, and also the pronoun is going to help you with the conjugation because usually there's a like commonality between them. Okay, now that you've learned verbs and how to conjugate them, the next thing you should learn is the object pronoun. What is that? Let me give you a quick example. In English, you have I and you have me. You might not notice, so what's the difference between them? Okay, so the difference is when you do the action, you say I did the action. But when the action or the verb happens to you, you say he did to me. Okay, you can't say he did to I. So in Arabic, we also have this object pronouns. So remember when I told you the possessive endings are the key to everything? those endings are also the object pronouns. Yep, it is that simple. So, there is only one tiny difference. When you say me, instead of e from my, we add an n, so it becomes ni. That's it. So, if I want to say, he sees me, or anybody sees me, we add this ni to the end of the verb. So you learned how to conjugate, and then you put the ni, and you know now what it means. Okay, so there is a word which is very common. I think many people know it if they're interested in Arabic. And the word is بحبك. You might have recognized this word, and it means I love you. So this word is two parts. بحب, I love, and ak, which is you, male, or your. This ek at the end means your also, from the word ismak. So your name, ismak. I love you, بحبك, ak. So this ak ending is common. It's both. It means your, of course, if it follows a noun, and it means you, object, if it follows a verb. So that's why those endings are really, really important. Now that you've learned the basis of grammar, you should start learning a lot of vocabulary. And don't forget about the numbers. The numbers would make up a percentage of everything. I would say 30% of what everybody says would be made of numbers and would be made of days of the week. Days of the week sound very similar to the numbers, by the way. And then try to improve your vocabulary. How are you going to do that? From a song, from a movie, from a book. Try to learn maybe 5 to 10 words every day, new words. And then what do you do with those words? You take those words and you try to form your own sentences. But of course, when you're learning a language, don't invent anything. Okay? It's not like any normal subject. You have to see how the sentence is made from a book or from whatever source and make a sentence using that same way. Okay, now that you've learned all of those things and you've learned your vocabulary, now we can add some more grammar, which is the indirect object. Okay, you might be wondering, what is that? Let me tell you. Let's say I hit you. You are direct. But if I hit someone for you, you are the indirect. I bought a gift for you. I bought the gift. That's the direct object. But why did I do it, or who did I buy it for? I bought it for you. So you are the indirect object. So in Arabic, we also have this, but it's very simple. Remember the endings that I told you about? The same endings, but we put the letter L or lam or L before. So E, which means my, if I say li, it means for me. Okay? Or ak, which means your, or it means you, object. I put the L, becomes lak, that means for you. For example, let's say I bought, the verb is أنا اشتريت. Now let's try those two differences, direct and indirect. If I say أنا اشتريت لك, that means I bought for you. But if I say أنا اشتريتك, that means I bought you, the person, which doesn't make sense. So remember to learn this as well. And it's very simple. Same endings. You see the same endings, we've used them in the possessive, we've used them in the direct object, and we've used them in the indirect object. Okay. Once you've learned those, you've learned a lot of vocabulary. You now know how to form sentences. Yeah? Take a month or something. Learn as much as you can. Once you do all that, you're no longer a beginner. You're on the way to learning. If you can't teach yourself all of those things, I have a course specifically made for beginners. I'm going to teach you all of those things and more, And I'm going to give you materials with audio that I made myself. I'm not going to use a book or anything like that. The materials, they have English and then Arabic and the English transliteration. So even if you don't know how to read or write, you're fine. But I do encourage you to learn how to write and read Arabic letters. They are not that hard. You can learn them in a week if you really put your mind to it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.